great. Your typical Perth childhood. Two older brothers, mum, dad. I was a little bit of a tomboy.
Yeah, I know.
A little bit of a tomboy. And I don't know if that's down to just having two older brothers.
Yeah.
And it's sort of being
you
around
are
them
still
a lot.
a little bit of a tomboy now, though.
Totally.
Even though you are so beautiful and feminine, you're a bit of a tomboy. Like you like beer and you like footy.
I don't mind a beer. I don't mind some footy.
Yes.
And but I think I was very much like that as a child too, and loved climbing trees and trying to find lizards and goannas and playing in the dirt. But then equally also loved playing with Barbie dolls.
Yeah, right.
So it was kind of, I always felt very balanced as a child, I think. But just was very sporty and nothing extraordinary, just your typical Aussie
upbringing.
Yeah.
What about school? School, did you enjoy school?
I did actually. I especially in primary school, I really loved it. I did quite well in terms of academically, and then don't know what happened in high school.
Oh, did you
socialising just became more important as it does. Yeah. I still did all right. I graduated, but I think, I think I knew almost instinctively that a lot of the stuff I was studying I wasn't going to need.
Yeah.
At least not in my immediate post-school future. I knew that, I would kind of just sit there going, why am I studying human biology? Why am I doing algebra? I know I'm not going to use it.
Yeah.
I know I'm not going to need it. It's not my passion. I didn't know what I was going to do.
Yeah, right.
But at the same time, I knew that I just didn't need it.
Yeah.
So I did it, and I did enough to graduate and get by and all of that. But I just kind of knew that I'd be doing something a little bit different.
Yeah, right. Did you have, when you were growing up, did you always want to model, or was there...
No.
Not at
Didn't
all?
even know what it was.
Yeah, right.
No, it wasn't like, I want to grow up and be a model. I mean, when I was growing up, it wasn't something you really aspired to as a career, because you didn't really know what it was. It wasn't really a job that was, obviously media and social media and all of that wasn't around back then, because we're talking the 80s, So, jobs like that weren't something that were on the forefront of children's minds.
No.
It was, a vet, a doctor, a nurse, your old school kind of solid professions. And that's what you more thought about, or a teacher or something like that. Whereas, now there's so many girls that are so young, and I have parents and, mums coming up to me going, my daughter's 8 and she wants to grow up and be a model. It's like, how do you even know what that is and what that entails? And so for me, it definitely wasn't that. The whole way I got into it was, there were a lot of girls around when got a bit older, around the age of 15, that were doing deportment classes, and they were being run through modelling agencies. And a few of my friends were doing the classes, and I just had my heart broken for the first time, and I was quite... like confidence just zero.
Yeah.
And mum, I'd mentioned maybe doing it to, doing the classes to mum, and she was sort of like, oh yeah, maybe, because mum I didn't think wanted me to get too involved in that world of the physical side.
Yeah.
But I think when my confidence was so low, she thought that maybe the deportment classes might be a good way to help me boost that.
Yeah.
And
and did it?
It did. Well, not initially. I still was super shy, because I was very shy growing up as well.
Really?
Oh, totally.
Do you still think you're shy?
Totally.
Oh, I think I am too. And you know what?
Are you nuts?
Oh, no, seriously, I am though. And also, I'm an introvert. I get my energy from being by myself. I get overwhelmed around too many people. I go more than 6 in a room, and I'm fucked. I hate it.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I'm very much the same. Especially if I don't know many people, I kind of hold back and I don't say too much at first, which I think people sometimes mistake for being aloof or a bit snobby, but it's not. It's just that if I don't know someone, I sort of need to take time to really kind of form that bond and connection. But so when I started the deportment classes, I was pretty reserved at first, but then the owners of the modelling agency that were running the classes saw me at the first graduation that I did, and they asked me if I wanted to work.
Right.
I thought, oh my God, really? That's bizarre, but I need a part-time job, and I was, 16 at that point, and I needed to sort of start earning my own money, because parents weren't going to support me forever. So that's kind of why I started doing it.
How you got into
More
it?
just because I could.
Yeah, right.
Not because I thought I want to grow up and be a model, or I think I've got the, you know, the look or whatever. It just kind of happened like that. So.
But then you go, so you are a bit, you know, you're at that awkward age. Being around 16 is pretty awkward anyway. And then that's kind of when your career started.
Yeah.
Did you struggle with it being all about the physical to start with?
Not to start with. I think I modelled for the first year or two in Perth, and you know, I got work pretty regularly and quite a lot. And so I started to build up a bit of a portfolio, which started to build confidence, which I felt like maybe I can do this. And the whole appeal for modelling to me was the fact that it wasn't that 9-to-5 job, and it wasn't, I would be working with different people all the time, different locations, maybe travel the world. Like that was the kind of, that was the hook for me. And the more areas of modelling that I worked in, I really enjoyed it, like going from catwalk to photographic to TV commercials. And I thought, I just really love this. And then it started to make sense to me. That's why I struggled to kind of connect with doing the algebra and the science and all of that, because this is my path. And I knew that. As soon as I got into it, I knew it. And so I think that's what propelled me to keep going. And then I won a modelling competition and went to Sydney, but that's when I did start to struggle.
Right, okay.
Because then I was in a much bigger market with many more models from overseas and around the country, more work, but it was harder to get the work. And I think then I started to struggle with the physical side, because at that time, you know, this was back in 1994, 95. And that's when that whole heroin chic look was really strong. And it was so the opposite of how I looked. And so that's the look that people were after. And that was a really strong trend at the time. And I just didn't fit the mold. And so I really struggled to get the work to sustain living in an expensive city like Sydney at the age of 19 at this point. And so I had to keep going back to Perth and making money in that market to then fly back to Sydney and spend it all. And so there was this seesawing back and forth between, you know, borrowing money off mum and dad and then having to pay it back and go back to Sydney. And it was just a couple of years of just being in limbo and nothing really seriously, I guess, of any worth or merit really stood out for me with my career until probably the age of 23.
Right.
So it took a while, took a long while.
Yeah. And is around 23 Italy time?
Yeah.
And that's when shit really changed, right?
Yeah, shit got real fast.
Like overnight.
Like literally it was one of those overnight things. And so I did a TV commercial because I thought it was my last year of modelling. I thought, that's it.
Why did you think that?
Because I was 23.
Oh, and that's old,
and I was,
right? in that
so
industry.
Ancient.
Far out.
You're you're getting into your twilight years of modelling at 23.
Is that the older end?
Back then it really was.
Wow, man, that's so
It's like
on.
not so much the older end you can't work, but it's kind of like if you haven't really made it significantly by then,
right,
the chances of it happening after are pretty low.
Okay.
You can still work.
Yeah.
It'll be probably just stock standard, pretty mediocre stuff.
Okay.
But not of that level that you want to get to ultimately.
Yeah. Right.
So I thought, all right, if this is my last year, I've got to try and get some coin in the bank because I don't know what I'm going to do afterwards.
Yeah.
And so I hadn't really tackled the whole TV commercial world of modelling. And so I thought, I'm going to push for that. I sat down with the agency and I said, I really want to try and get some TV commercials under my belt so I can save up some money. Maybe I'll go to Germany and model there because they were interested in having me over there. But I thought, at least I'll have some money in the bank and I can decide what I'm going to do. So I started this year of trying to lock down some TV commercials, and I by January, February, I'd done a couple here locally. So I thought, this is great. And then I got asked to go to a casting for an Italian TV commercial. So I went along to that. Had no idea who it was for, but I just thought, just want to get another one, just another TV commercial under my belt. Ended up getting the job, thinking I'll never see this thing. It'll air overseas. It was for a phone company. And then I think a couple of weeks after it aired, the client called my agent and said, we want to fly Megan over to Italy because this commercial's just been a huge success and we want to have her over there for a week of media and we're going to throw her a party. And
wow.
I know, it was crazy.
How does that even come from a commercial?
I don't know. That's the thing. It's not normal.
No, because I think of the commercials on ours. I'm like, I mean, I'm not probably going to attend the party for the lady on the phone commercial.
No, exactly.
Weird.
But this was no ordinary phone commercial,
wasn't it?
Though. No, it was. You'll have to find it.
Yeah, I'm going to find
it. But it was very sultry, and I was kind of like a Bond girl. And you think,
okay,
how does that connect with phones? And it kind of did. And it's, you know, Italy can, you know, they could get away with a lot creatively. But yeah, it was something that just exploded, and it changed my career and my life.
Yeah, because you went from back here doing what you would, you know, flying to pay bills, flying back and forth, to over there, to being people literally lining up like the whole country to see you. It was
a very extreme. Well, and it's still back in Australia. It's not like, well, then that changed for me back in Australia. I was still. It was a really bizarre double life for a while, because I would fly over there and just have the full rock star treatment.
Yeah, like bodyguards.
Everyone knew who I was. Yeah, the whole lot. Wow. But then I'd come back to Australia and it would be like crickets.
Yeah, right.
In terms of work, I mean, I loved it because it happened so quickly. It's kind of spooked me a bit, because you go from struggling to get a client to book you for a job to a whole country just embracing you and perhaps following you and having bodyguards and all that kind of crazy stuff.
Yeah.
And then that was really hard to adjust to, because it was so extreme and it was so quick, and no one teaches you how to deal with it.
No.
By myself in a country where I didn't understand what they were saying, all sorts of dodgy people around me trying to sign all different things, and you know, you just had to have your wits about you. So that was really hard to get my head around, but so it was kind of nice to come back to Australia and have that anonymity,
just be normal,
and just have the normality, because I'd be going over there and just it would be crazy.
Yeah, see, that would I'd go over there and get drunk on the power of fucking everyone loves me.
No,
I would just live. I would move there in a heartbeat.
No, see, and I didn't for a while. It freaked me out. Because everyone wanted a piece of me, and I didn't understand, and I didn't. You know, you get your people trying to sign you up for different contracts, and you don't understand the language, and you're having to try and get it translated, and you know, I got taken advantage of a fair bit.
But do you reckon that really, because you're a very strong person now, do you think that time made you go, I'm not getting fucked over anymore in this world?
I think it totally takes being screwed over a lot to make you a little bit more switched on. Yeah. Unfortunately, it has to happen.
I know, doesn't it though?
Yeah.
Do you look back on things that happened then and go, oh my God, I wish I could help Megan back then?
Oh God, yeah. But you know, at the same time, I wouldn't go back and change it all, because it all helps shape where you end up.
Yeah.
And, but unfortunately, you know, some of those experiences may turn you into a bit of a hard bitch at times.
Yeah.
And that sucks, because you don't mean to be, you don't want to be, but you kind of have to be to protect yourself.
Do you feel that you do put up a bit of a barrier between you and people because of that, you know, where people did try and scam you sometimes? Do you feel that now you're a little bit like that now?
I don't put up a barrier as such. I always want to be open with people, but sometimes I think when you do what I do, and when you're in the position that I am, people just want you to say yes and go and do it.
Yeah.
They don't expect a response, especially an intelligent one or an informed one. Yeah. And so when you do that, it's kind of like, oh, and then that's like, oh, maybe think I'm a bit of a bitch, whatever. But it's like, I have to protect myself. I'm not going to be a doormat. I'm not going to be walked over. And I think that sometimes lends itself to earning a bit of respect as well.
Yeah, totally.
Because you can't afford to be taken advantage of in this industry.
No, not at all.
Unfortunately.
Do you feel though also, because you're a woman and sometimes going, nah, just calling your own shots. I wonder if that's different than if it was if you were a guy going, no, that's not cool.
Well, I guess I would never know.
No.
I would never know. I'd like to think it's not.
Yeah.
But it was a really interesting time, that whole Italy experience, and I definitely wouldn't change it. And, you know, it definitely also ended up having a ripple effect back home and affecting my career back home. As soon as I think the industry here learned about what was happening over there, it definitely sparked a bit more interest in me, and clients coming on board, and then people embracing me a bit more here. And that was really lovely, because it was amazing to have that happen in Italy, but I just wanted it back home where I was from.
Yeah, yeah.
That was really important to me. So the fact that it kind of did happen here was really, really special.
Yeah, and you can then just get all that work and just be based here. Thank
God.
Yeah. So let's move forward to when you found out you were pregnant with River. Oh, look, that's so cute, your little face.
Little Baba.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was amazing. It took us just 6 months of trying to conceive.
Isn't it the pits, that trying period too?
Oh, it goes forever.
Oh.
Feels like it lasts forever.
Well, it does. There's nothing more unromantic than, did you use the maybe baby? I'd lick that maybe baby and be like, Sam,
that thing doesn't work.
Yeah, the maybe baby is the best.
Well, you really do try.
Well, let's be honest. There's nothing romantic about it.
Fill me up.
Yeah. Give me what I want.
There isn't. And as much as you head into it going, we're going to keep it sexy.
Yeah.
We're going to keep it romantic. We're not going to be like, quick, it's time.
Yeah.
But you can't help going, am I ovulating?
Of course,
what's going on?
Yeah.
Is it in the window? Have we missed the window? Am I ovulating early? Am I ovulating late? I don't know. How do I know?
Because it is so consuming when you're trying to have a baby. Yeah.
It really does. I think your first month or two, you're like, oh, let's just see what happens. And you're secretly going, I bet it's going to happen. And then it doesn't. And you're like, oh.
Yeah, I know, yeah.
There's the next month and the next month.
Given right as a woman that it will just happen when you want it to happen.
Well, see, that's the thing. When you're a teenager, it's like, don't have unprotected sex. You'll fall pregnant immediately.
Yes.
And so you're terrified for years. And so when it comes up, right, I'm ready now.
Yeah.
You're like, how? And it's just actually really, when you think of, because I sat there and watched, read books and watched so many videos of like the journey that the sperm goes on and what has to happen. Like it's just a marathon. Like it's so much has to align to fall pregnant. It's amazing that the world's as populated as what it is.
All the time. And don't you feel like a hero when you've given birth? And I'm like, oh, there's a million people even in this room and their mums have done this. Like, do you know what I mean? I know. You just feel like a hero. In this birthing suite before me. It is a miracle though. Every single time I'm like, oh my God, this is just so incredible. This has happened like
miraculous.
48 hours of that month.
And not just that, it's miraculous when you think of what happens week on week with the pregnancy.
Yeah.
How a baby has to develop, and now its heart's developing and the chambers and this organ and now the eyes and the teeth and so much could not go right. So when you have, and it often doesn't, and that's incredibly sad. So you think of what's to me is just as miraculous is the fact that all of that growth can happen and you can have a healthy baby. Like that is a miracle within itself.
Yeah.
So, but back to when we found out. So I think it took us so long because there were just so many things that Sean was either injured or I was traveling and it just sort of didn't line up. And then there was just like, when we got to the 6th month, I was like, right, that's it. I'm taking 3 weeks off. I'm chilling out. He was in a good space too. He wasn't sort of, battered and bruised from football. And I was like, this is it. This is the month. And it happened.
Wow.
As soon as we just sort of slowed everything down and stopped, it happened. And when I did the pregnancy test, it was just the faintest line. Like you could barely make it out. And I said, Sean, is that a second line? Is that a second line? And he's like, I think it could be something. It might be the light. And I was like, I don't know. And it never really got stronger.
Oh, didn't it?
And then I waited a couple of days. Right. And then, because that was like the day I was due.
Yeah. You're just so eager to see it. Yeah.
Like, I'm not waiting. Where's the stick? And then I waited a couple of days and I did it again. And it was the faintest of faintest lines. And it never got stronger. And I even would do it a week later. My period was late.
Wow.
Never got stronger. And then eventually, when I was about 6 weeks, went to the obstetrician and he's like, oh yeah, you're pregnant. And we just cried. And it was amazing. And it was a really good pregnancy. I loved my pregnancy with River. It was incredible. And giving birth, wow, what an experience.
Isn't that just next level?
Next level.
Oh,
did you do any drugs?
I didn't.
I
did hypnobirthing.
Hypnobirthing?
I did hypnobirthing, yeah.
So talk me through that.
So a friend's sister had the most incredible births, 3 labours that were just phenomenal. And I'm like, you know what, I'm open to anything. I'll do anything to have a baby come out healthy, but I want my tool. I was so scared
that
I just wanted my tool belt full of stuff.
Yeah.
So it was just really learning about breathing, and there's visualization, which I didn't really do. Mine was more about the breathing and different counts to your breathing for the different stages of labour.
Right.
And Sam and I did it together, and so he learned to massage, and then there was meditation.
You got massaged?
I didn't want to be touched. I didn't use half of it. And I remember I had the music on in the labour ward, and it just kept going around and around, and I didn't even have the energy to go turn the fucking music off. You know,
because you have in your head how you think you're going to be.
Yes.
And it's so different.
So different. And then I begged for the drugs, and the lady's like, oh, I'm sorry, it's too late. And I'm like, fucking kill me. I couldn't believe it. I just burst into tears. Like I'd gone too far.
Was that with both or with just with
both?
First with Babs? Okay.
With Arlo, I nearly had it out the front of the hospital. I waited home too long. And I remember just they had to get a wheelchair and
how
wheel me
mortifying to be on the curb.
Oh my God, I couldn't move. It was like that. Imagine. But it hasn't, that feeling of that is like nothing else.
Right, because I say with your second it's quick.
Fucked. Yeah, it'll be quicker.
Yeah.
How did you find it?
Well, I didn't do hypnobirthing, but I tried to do this. It's like a pain, different techniques to push through the pain. So movement, the breathing, visualization.
Yeah.
It just out the window.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I just thought, I can't, it's not happening. I can't do it. And I just, because I had an incoordinate birth. So no one told me about that. I was just told you'd have contractions. They might start around 20 minutes apart. They'll get closer together. When you hit 5 minutes, head to the hospital. Right. So I thought, easy, got it. Mine started at 5 minutes apart.
Oh.
So I was like, shit, should I be in the hospital? What's going on? But I had no show and I had no waters breaking. So I thought, anyway, I sort of chugged on at home for a while because this all kicked off at about 5 in the morning.
Right.
And then they kept going, 9 minutes apart, 2 minutes apart, 7 minutes apart. And I thought, I can't keep track of this. No one's told me what this means.
Yeah.
And then I was calling the hospital and they said, look, if you haven't had any waters break or you've got no show, then stay at home.
Really?
You're fine. Yeah. Right. Which was a little bit, with your first labour.
Were you in denial too to start with?
No, I knew what it was.
Did you?
I was like, it's on, this is on. I was just like, how long, in my head, I'm going, how long is this going to be?
Yes.
Like, is this going to be 6 hours? Am I a 3-dayer? Like, what's this going to be? Like, you don't know, but you're just constantly going through it and I'm timing my contractions. And so I stayed at home for about 5 hours. And then I said, Sean, I really want to go to the hospital. Yeah. I'm feeling uncomfortable here. And I called them and they said, come in, we'll look, if we really think that it's early labour or we'll send you home, but let's just come in, we'll monitor the baby, monitor you, and we'll just have a bit of a look. So I came in, they popped me in a room, they checked Bubs was fine. And then they said, look, your obstetrician's upstairs, we'll get him to come and have a look and see what's happening because we think you are going into labour. And it really, by the time I got to hospital, it really felt like it. Like it was an unmistakable level of pain.
Right.
So by the time he came in and inspected me, I've been going for about 6 hours, and he said, oh, you're just 0.5 centimetre. Oh, have you heard about though? I don't know what you were like. Have you heard about those girls who are like 3 days before they go into labour, they're like 5 centimetres and they've done nothing?
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, how are you halfway there? I'd been going at it. Half as the 5 mil.
Oh shit, that's so
dilated.
Depressing.
I was hoping he'd say like 8 or something.
Yeah.
And then we can start pushing. So I was determined to have no drugs, no epi. I just wanted to try and do it natural. I had a birth plan printed out.
Yes, so did I.
It was like, I want, skin on skin for an hour. I want this. I want delayed cord clamping.
Yeah.
So, I had 10 copies to hand out. I think one made it to someone. But I was like, I had a playlist, which I played for a bit and then I got annoyed with it.
Yeah.
I had crystals, I had essential oils, they stayed in the
bags.
Snacks? Did I have some? I had Hydrolite icy poles.
Gatorades.
Smashed those. Those were my Hydrolite. Tried going in the shower and it was all just, everything I tried sort of worked for a bit. So I just had the gas, right?
Yep.
So I have a bit of the gas, that's fine. And then that wasn't cutting it after a while, so I kept dialing it up. And then I thought I'd be like a gun at breathing because I've done Pilates breathing, I've done yoga breathing. My breathing was shit house. I was so bad. It was just ragged, and it was in my chest, and it wasn't in my belly. It was just all over the shop.
Yeah.
Really bad.
Course,
and so anyway, I ended up just, because the breathing was bad, I sucked on the gas too much. Oh. And I ended up feeling completely drugged, couldn't move.
Oh, that was my worst. That was the only reason I said no, is because I couldn't handle being out of my mind.
Yeah, and I was.
Oh.
I was limp like rag doll.
Oh,
couldn't even lift my head, couldn't even open my eyes. Felt like someone had drugged me. And my main priority was that I wanted to push him out. I didn't want to have a Caesar. And no judgment to anyone who has a Caesar, but for me, I just didn't want to do it. And I just got to the point where I said to Sean, I've got nothing left in the tank. Yeah. I can't push. And I said, I'm going to have an epi. And by this stage, I think I'd been going for, because that's the thing too, my electrician induced me, and then it just took off.
Yeah.
It was on. It was like every minute and a half, 2 minutes. Anyway, I said, I'm going to have epidural. And Sean's like, I don't understand why you didn't have one like hours ago. I've never seen someone in so much pain. And he's seen people in a lot of pain on the footy field. He's like, I don't understand why you've waited. Yeah. So I was like, just go and get him. Just get him, get the needle in. But that doesn't happen in an instant. That takes a good hour and a half to 2 hours. And the dude was off in another hospital, and they had to go and find him. And then by the time he got there, I was just like, all right, come on, let's go. And then he's like, I just need you to fill out some paperwork, and that'll be an extra fee. And are you okay to sign this? I was like, yes, just play. I don't care. Just put the needle in. God. So it took ages, and then it took half an hour to kick in. So by the time that all happened, and I was pain-free, I think it was probably about 8 or 9 hours or 10 hours or something.
Just so smashed.
But then it was the best thing I ever did, because I could relax.
Yeah.
Sean could finally let go of my hand, which I was crushing.
Yes.
And
I hear it's the best thing ever. If I go again, I'm going to go straight in and go, give me one. Like, I actually want to be present and almost enjoy it.
That's the thing. It was the best thing I ever did, because I ended up, the gas wore off. I got to have, just chill, have something to drink. And then they came in and sort of inspected me, and my obstetrician said, okay, we'll be able to push in about an hour. He said, just relax. And so we sat there and we chatted, and we got to text people, and, it was really nice, and it gave me an hour to get my energy back. Yeah. And then the pushing came, which I loved, because I could kind of feel it a little bit, but not enough that I was in pain. And I pushed for like 45 minutes, and then out he popped.
Far out.
Yeah.
How surreal knowing he's here in an hour.
I know.
Did you it was like, it's just us for the next hour? Like, what a weird feeling.
Yeah, it really was.
And then what about when you saw him? Did you feel that instant, ugh?
Yeah, I did.
I'm so envious of that. I wasn't partial to my kids for a while.
Really? See, as soon as he landed on me, he looked exactly how I pictured him.
Really?
Exactly. And it was so bizarre, because I pictured in my mind what it would be like, and it was exactly that moment. And just snuggled up and started having a feed, and
Did he worm? You know when they worm to the boob?
They do.
It's
amazing.
I remember putting Baxi on my chest and just watching this tiny human, like...
I know.
I was like, what the fuck's going on? It was so amazing.
Yeah, they just sort of move over.
Oh, it's incredible.
Yeah, it's wild.
Yeah.
It is. But about that not connecting with them, I had that happen, I think it was around the 6-week mark. Although you are completely sleep deprived and you've lost your mind.
Yeah.
But I got really upset at one point, and I said to Sean, I don't love him as much as I think I should be.
Yeah.
I kind of questioned whether I was in love with him as much as you sort of hear about, you just love your children and they're the best and it's the best thing. And I loved him, and I had no regrets, but the level of intense love, especially when you compare it to that first moment, it had kind of shifted a bit. Right, and I got really upset because I didn't understand why. And I thought, oh my God, what if this sticks around?
Yeah.
But then I remember it was about a week or two later, and I just burst into tears out of the blue. And Sean said, what's wrong? And I said, I'm just terrified. What if something happens to him? What if something happens to him? And Sean said, how can you question how much you love this kid? You just are crying at the thought that something might happen to him. Yeah. And that's when I knew it was fine.
God, it feels like another lifetime ago, doesn't it? Thinking of them that little.
Yeah.
Because I remember looking at Sam in the birthing suite and I said, I'm not really feeling anything. And he looked back and said, I'm not either, it's okay. And in that moment, I've never felt like more of a team with Sam. I'm like, it's you and I, and we'll get to know this little guy together.
Yeah.
And it just eased me. It's like, it's okay what I'm feeling.
Yeah, it totally is.
I loved him and felt protective of him, but it took me about 10 weeks before I was like, ooh. And I remember I was dressing him in all different clothes and Sam walked in, he's going, having hard time bonding, are you? Because I just dress him in all different clothes and, and I was like, yes, similar. I was like, yeah, I guess I am now.
It's happened.
Yeah.
But I think it really taught me that there's no right way to feel.
No.
Everyone's experience is different, from how you conceive, the pregnancy, the birth, what happens after. Yeah. There's no right or wrong way.
No, and the worst thing you can do is compare as well.
Totally. With anything to do with that.
Yeah, with anything, full stop. But especially when it comes to parenting or